Welcome to High Oracle's Reiki Spiritual Healing Channel. And it's coming to the end of my day, and I have put in a lot of work today. And I just was sitting here and I was deciding that a lot of you are understanding now that, we are chosen ones together. Everyone hasn't reached their understanding of their gifts. And, maybe they may be doing something wrong. Maybe they can be bribed in order to give the entity their gifts. But, this is our job to be able to guide them back. No one is perfect. And in the holy books, it says all of us have fallen short of the glory. So, when you're doing things and being rewarded by the entity, then it's easy for you to understand that you're not a chosen one yet. You're not chosen one yet. You when you start walking into your gifts, when you start, isolating from the things that you used to do, and all of us have to be able to change and be able to, unlearn some of those negative behaviors taught by our parents, our family, those traditions. And so I'm doing that right now because, I usually don't even ask for help. So right now I'm having to unlearn some things and put down some behaviors, being very independent, of wanting to do everything myself. So with that being said, I've created a GoFundMe account because in order for me to, give you some idea, and I posted some of the pictures on my GoFundMe account so that you can, donate. The reason why a person would become homeless because of the housing crisis of, having mold, asbestos, water, water damage, problems with the foundation, mold growing inside the foundation, inside the walls of a lot of these places. And so when you're stepping into your abilities, when you know who you are, then you have to be able to accept help and say that I was wrong. Okay? And this is where, I wanted to give you, the two instances of, the people's homes that I had rented. I bought the trailer from my father. And I told you my story. I went to go and stay, with two of my relatives, and it was just as worse as, going to stay with my father. It was just as worse of having to go through battle after battle with these people that own the property and own the building. And I wanted to show you that, this is what will happen to a lot of the chosen ones when we have clarity. And this is why I have detoxes for people, to gain that clarity, to gain that experience of their life purpose. When I was going through these things, I had gone through it in the property that I had rented with my husband and I. And then I had to go through this same experience 3 times before God said to me, no, you're going to have to move away from these types of people. They're trying to unalive you. And there is no forgiveness for that. When you have that type of clarity that, you can't go to work. There's a lot of things that you can't do. Your neighbors are in collusion with the entity. and they are trying to get rewards for, your unaliving, for your soul. You have to make sure that you're moving away from these types of neighbors, friends, family, any of these people. It's going to come down to it that you're going to have to isolate yourself from anything that doesn't mean you any well, and that goes for men and women. So I've created this GoFundMe account because you're going to get a chance firsthand to see what I was dealing with some of these property owners. You're going to get a chance to see, why these types of problems will cause illnesses in a person, why I'm not in a hurry to go back into a property unless I can get it inspected. And that is, why I would need, not only just a deposit and the first month's rent, but I would also need to get the property inspected. And what I'm getting from a lot of, these inspectors is that, and I'd like to talk to them because, I can get an idea that even a lot of the newer properties can have property damage or mold growing in them, or they can have different types of issues because the people don't have the money to update the building. They do not keep with the upkeep of the building. And when you're having these types of issues, then for me it has been best that I take my time. Okay, so now that we are understanding that all people who have these issues, who would rather say that these people are trying to unalive me with their building or their property, is best that I would rather be homeless than to let these people harm me and take my life in such a manner. So that's why I wanted to give you an idea of these independent elderly facilities that that they have our parents living in, and I'm giving you firsthand knowledge, the pictures of those types of ideas. I'm under attack because I have this knowledge, because I've been fighting this type of narcissist behavior in the government with landlords for such a long time. And so this is why I become under attack from these secret societies. This is why it's very hard to find a place to stay when they have made such moves as committing perjury in the court system against themselves, and they would do this readily available, do this to any person that is a black person through racism. When you have the evidence and you're able to express the evidence, I had not done this type of work ever in my life, and so I was just learning as I go. So these are some of the things that you will go through when you're exposing these types of narcissists, these governmental narcissists. And I've given you on my GoFundMe, just look at the pictures, 2 different occasions where they are putting my life in danger, and the people on the property, they're putting us in danger with a lot of these buildings, with a lot of these property owners that leave their land or their building, let it become uninhabitable, dilapidated. And I wanted to give you the example of, a lot of you do not understand where your health problems are coming from. And it is definitely, for some of you, coming from, your home. It's coming from your building, your project. And you have to make sure that you are making the best choices. I made this choice to come on this mission because, like I said, I had to go anyway. So we have an understanding of, certain chosen ones will come under fire because of their knowledge. They're trying to suppress the information. They're trying to suppress the person. They're trying to suppress the content. They're trying to suppress, the chosen ones, who will expose these types of people, the system as it is, and this is what happened in my case. We're not even going to talk about the healthcare, side of this, but I wanted to give you a general idea that, you guys understand that I have created this GoFundMe, and you can see, why I created this GoFundMe, because it's going to take a minute for me, to have a safe place, a healthy place to live, and not trigger, my allergies, to these buildings, to the buildings, to any kind of, and I like to call it a biohazard inside some of these buildings, that, everyone is not as allergically severe as I am, but it takes its toll either way, especially in young people or vulnerable elderly people, when you're having these types of problems. And I wanted to give you these types of attacks, biohazardous attacks, from the government, the landlord, the court system is aware, and it is meant to unalive you. It is meant for you not to be able to think straight. It is meant for you, to go off the deep end, so you get locked up. It is meant for you to spend all your money in healthcare and let them experiment on you. It is meant for you to ultimately not be able to pinpoint what is going on, and to be unalive. And again, like I say, when someone has threatened your life, when something has threatened your life, I choose violence. Okay, so this is one of the things that I wanted to give to you today, so that you can understand what is going on with you, and why you will, experience, not being able to move forward in a lot of areas in society, because it is designed that, either you accept, the sickness, or you accept that you're not going to fit in, that you're crazy, that they're going to drive you crazy, or you're going to accept that you're going to be homeless and broke because, your health has been affected severely. And I hope that you received this message. Please like, share, and subscribe to me. Donate to my GoFundMe account, so that, I can find a safe, livable home that is conducive for me to thrive in and do the work that we're doing here on this channel. I really appreciate all of your support. Please, again, book your consultation, so that I can acclimate a gift to you, and give you the clarity about your situation if you're going through this with a landlord, or a cleanse for your house if you're going through this with a housing project or building owners. Please donate to my channel. I'm High Oracle Reiki Spiritual Healer. Assalamu alaikum.